Morning traders, and welcome to the Bookmap All Markets webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. We'll be going through live order flow and looking for some opportunities. We'll be using Bookmap, and the whole idea and goal here is to understand the price action and the volume and the order book all together in context. This is the participation of the people in the auction, the traders. This is what we want to understand. They leave footprints. We want to be able to read them and understand where the market might be going based off of their activity. And that's what we'll do in this webinar. General disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so let's see. I've got something for you here. Axia Futures Bookmap webinar will be this Thursday. You can see the countdown here. I'm going to put the link into the chat for you. So really looking forward to this. It's about stop placement, how to place your stop loss at the correct levels, exit levels, and avoid getting shaken out of winning trade setups. We have some unique content and ideas to go through. This is what they do over at Axia Futures, and then we can show edges also using Bookmap in conjunction with what they're looking at. All right, so let's move on and get into the presentation here. Just a second. Okay. And let's see, I'm currently in a position here in NVIDIA, but just let me just well, it's starting to break out here, but oh, what the heck, let's just stay in it and let's see where it goes, if we can get up to 125 here. But it's already played out pretty nicely what I was looking for here, but we had some pretty big down days and still looking for buyers to come back in, and we can see them here already. This is the context, right? So in fact, we'll go through some of the trading in here if you guys like, and just kind of mistakes made or better entries or proper entries, trade management, things to consider. All right. But we can look at any market you guys want. We typically start with the S&P E-mini and go through what's happening on that instrument. That's what most people want to take a look at. All right, let me see over on YouTube how we're doing. Just a minute. All right, let me see over. Okay. Okay, I think we're good. In the Axia Futures webinar here. Just a minute, I'll put this in. There you go. Okay. All right, and yeah, market looks pretty good here in the S&P as well. We're seeing the buyers coming in. We see, look at the book underneath here, looking for it to trade back up into these levels here. Okay, so we just traded into some liquidity, but it still looks good here, pulling on the offer. So let's see if we can get a movement back up into like maybe 55.30, etc. Okay, bit of a pullback maybe, but anyway, we'll take a look at our bigger picture approach here and then drill down into the order flow action and what's going on in here. All right, so I took another trade in here that we can cover if you guys like, but it wasn't much, but a little bit of a scalp. But the idea here in going through this is to understand not just the order flow and the setups in here. We want to understand the trade management. This is an element that a lot of traders just don't go over. In fact, that's exactly why we're having this webinar about with Axia Futures on stop loss. correct levels, staying in the trade, etc. Because we can look at our setups, etc. But and that's all good and needed. However, the trade management part is essential. We have to be really good at risk management and trade management in order to profit from our setups. If you botch that, you're going to lose money most likely. And that's a pity, because maybe you spent a lot of time and effort studying a specific setup, and you're really good at it, but you don't know how to manage it. All right, so let's see if there's any questions here over in Discord as well. Go. Okay, good morning, Alan, Rob, Shark. Yeah, the Axia guys are great, and real gentlemen over there, and just excellent traders. It's a pleasure working with them, really. Yeah, can't say enough. It's really nice to see in this industry. All right, so yeah, our S&P is coming up to the swing here, and still looking like it has a little bit of oomph to come up into maybe this 30 level here. I'm missing it. We're looking for it to do this. The bid looked good. They're pulling on the offer. I had the volume, but anyway, I wanted to shy away here and go over a bigger picture to begin with. But it had all of the elements in here. I probably should have jumped in, but we can look at a continuation pattern in here. And yesterday we talked about 1, 2, 3 patterns in more detail. Now our continuation pattern is right here in front of us. You can look at this kind of measured. You can even measure the moves in here and look for it to work out. Good morning, Stephen. Yeah, I'll go over the outside liquidity indicator for you. No problem. In fact, let me add it on here. Find it first. There it is. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we'll go over that in just a minute here. Yeah, this just a review from yesterday. We talked about this 1, 2, 3 pattern that Shark looks at, and it's well, what we want to understand in this kind of back and forth in a 1, 2, 3 pattern is the liquidity and the volume within it. Okay? Because like you're going to get it almost all the time. This kind of back and forth, and then there's so many different ways to call it, and it could be Wyckoff looking at distribution or accumulation, etc. It could be a high volume node, whatever it might be, a range, support, resistance. What we want to understand is we want to drill down, we want to get rid of all the names, and what we want to look at and understand is what makes up this area here, and that's what's going to give us the edge. Okay, again, we've talked about first principles, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're drilling down. We want to understand the essence behind the order flow in here, and what makes up the market is orders. Okay, we drill down even deeper. It is the participants in the order flow, or the order flow captures the participants' behavior. That's what we want to read. So you can call it whatever you like. It is the behavior in here we want to read and understand. So here we can go through it quickly. And Shark, I'll put together like a little list. I don't know if it'll be this week, but maybe next week. I mean, it won't take long. I just have so many things I got to do of criteria here. What to look for. Here, strong move, shallow pullback. Okay, high liquidity up here, but more buyers. They trade through it. We get a pullback though. more buyers up into high liquidity again in here. Okay, so now it makes sense that we might find a little bit more sellers in here and retest back down into some of these areas. Look where it goes. We got two things in here. One is the breakout from here, okay, and where the buyers came in here. Two, we have high liquidity down here. Okay, so we are still in an up move, but reading this back and forth in here, this and then finding buyers back up again looks pretty good. Okay, because we have our sellers, buyers in control in this move from this on the area on up into high liquidity on the bid, totally absorbed, and then the buyers come back, retest where it dropped from here, and then even more buyers in here. And this is really truly where you see the buyers come in. Okay, they move it up into this area. We get some back and forth in here. We even get a retest here, but we get buyers back up above again. Okay, so you could be looking for like entries in these areas in here, and this is very much in line with our learning center flag pattern. Okay, so if we go here to bookmap.com and education strategies, we fix this, Alois. Thank you so much for the insights. I did see it earlier as well, but it was yeah, something that had happened there, and the developers figured it out. So the the flag pattern and the continuation in here, and starting to understand entry, which we mention in here. Okay, it is place in here. Yeah, here. Okay, so looking for the buyers to start to come in. We also like to see this high liquidity underneath here and putting your stop loss down here. Okay, protected by this high liquidity. Okay, well, I mean, you can look at this here, but where do the buyers come in? Well, not until here really, or here. Okay, and especially here it looks good because they traded in high liquidity here. Not really quite too sure, but again here, yeah, looking for them to pull this up at this point. Yeah, there you go. So understanding this behavior in here and looking for the moves to unfold. Now, Stephen, another interesting one is about you were looking at this. If you start to understand this behavior in here, then you're taking a shot at it here. You have high liquidity, maybe front run it by a tick, and you get an amazing entry down here. Okay, but it's based off of this impulse move here that makes that decision for you. Okay, now you know that sellers might come in and take it below where these buyers came in here. If they do, you get stopped out. Okay, but you have a very tight stop, like three ticks or so, something like that. In here, you have to have a wider stop. Your profit is not as much. But these are all considerations in the trade management. All right. And then anyway, we can go through this criteria again on the 1, 2, 3. So we have our strong move, and then the back and forth in here. Do we see a lot of sellers? We see a bit in here, and we see high liquidity in here too. So these are sellers too. But we're still going with the trend, the strong move. Then we see the move back down into this area in here. Not a whole lot of volume, sell volume down here into high liquidity. Okay, so you can look at the price action within, and it's not very well articulated here, but I think you guys get the idea that this back and forth in here. Okay, I'm just kind of paraphrasing it, but you can see the moves here. Understanding on these swings the volume and understanding the liquidity. Okay, right, and then back up above the swing in here, it's looking good. Buyers are going to take control and try to continue on to the upside here based on this strong impulse move. All right, so anyway, it did the move. And now you get our retracement all the way back here. And now we can, so we went through the 1, 2, 3 pattern, or this continuation pattern in some detail. What about the bigger picture here? Well, the swing up here we were talking about, well, we just tested here and we sold off, okay, all the way back down to our line here where these buyers did come in. Okay, so that's where it tested, and there are buyers in the book here on the bid. Okay, they're also here on the bid at a higher level. Okay, now let's read the back and forth in here. Okay, I don't really like it. I don't see a lot of buying up in here. There's some. I see some heavy selling here. Okay, now what about in here? Do I see heavy selling? No, not really. So yeah, I would give a nod here to the buyers that we can come back up into here 28, 29, and 30. It's kind of you know, a little bit of volatility in here in this back and forth. It's not an easy read in here. Now the bid here starting to show some activity. That's good. But we need to see the reaction to this bid be our buyers here, our aggressive buyers. And they are starting to pull up here. They are fickle up here. All right, so if that is the case, well, then let's see if we can take a position here. And let's look for some buying in here. Here we go. Whoops, I am not prepared. Yeah, I would look for more of a pullback, I think. I'm looking for it, and if we get a lot of buyers here, then I think we got it. It's just not that convincing. Yeah, I'm going to pass on that. It's just not that convincing. Anyway, we're trying to read this behavior in here, and it's really not as convincing as over here, right? It's the swings in here and the selling down here. So we're going to shy away from that. We're going to look at, we can go through this trade though over here. Very, very simple scalp, looking for the move to the upside here. Okay, same idea. Here it is in trade management. Okay, exactly the same. Here's our impulse move. Here's our back and forth in here, our 1, 2, 3, but a continuation 1, 2, 3. Don't have much of a bid. We have a little bit of a bid in here, bidding up. I started to note the buyers come back in. Okay, great. Well, I'm looking for them to pull back up into these areas in here, and I had a measured move as well. Our impulse move, okay, our back and forth, and then looking for that next impulse move. And I think my target was, yeah, it was about here, this liquidity here. I actually moved my stop up here and was looking for the follow through here, and it ended up just taking my profit up here. Okay, it ultimately went through that level. Was kind of looking for that, anyway, that was my decision. That's what I did. I was about 1.5 points, and that was it. But this is pre-market, and wasn't looking for a whole lot. All right, but the same criteria in here on this back and forth. Now with trade management, entry right in here, right where we want to see the buyers come back in and start to take control and move back up to the swing and above it. Right, so let me know if you have any questions on this. Let's see where we are now. Yeah, we got our back and forth in here too. It kind of continues here. So we got to move back up into 28, but that was it so far. Yeah, it just doesn't look good. The bid's starting to show a little bit of interest. All right. See if there's any questions in YouTube. Market about to melt buyers. I don't know. Let's see how our NVIDIA is doing here. Okay, we got stopped out. It came up. This was looking good for a continuation. So we thought, well, we're going to take some profit up here, or we're going to let it run and see if we can get it back up into 25 here. Yeah, but just since we're on our trade management kick this morning, let me continue on with this one. All right, so now NVIDIA, bigger picture, had sold off pretty hard for a few days. Everyone knows that this business is incredible. And just if it can trade into high liquidity down here, and I start to see buyers at the open come back in, I'm in. All right, so again, here's our flag or continuation pattern right in front of us again. So we went through this high liquidity, traded into this liquidity here, pulled back, but I have high liquidity here underneath me. And then I start to find some buyers again. Okay, great. I'm looking forward to come back up into this swing or in this liquidity here or up in here. Okay, so I got in and then took my profit up here at that swing in front of this high liquidity. Pretty simple move. And again, continuation pattern though, that we got our strong move, high volume up in this area here. Looks like it's going to break through, and it did, and back up. And then another one. So after it pulled back here, traded into this high liquidity here, I'm looking for a pullback to these swings in here, high liquidity here. And then what do we get? Do we see a lot of sellers in here? No, I'm seeing buyers. Okay, I'm in, and then I see it trade into and through this liquidity in here. I'm in again, and then I'm just holding here. One take profit up here in front of the high liquidity, and then the other one we got stopped out on at just about break even in here. Yeah, something like that. All right. So anyway, yeah, Shark, I'll put that criteria together. It won't take much. I just want to, make it nice and refine it, and we can have another strategy to put in. I'd like to develop a lot of these order flow strategies. We only have 2 right now, but I would love to see like a dozen in there. It's really simple stuff. It's not complex. We don't have to dilute it with all sorts of complexity and whiz-bang gadgetry and indicators, etc. We're just reading the behavior of the traders in the auction process. All right, let's jump back to our S&P. Boy, it's pretty range bound. Yeah, this back and forth in here wasn't too convincing. We gave the nod to the buyers, and all it's done is traded up to the swing here. Yeah. Yeah, no, Rob, let me put it this way though. Like I've been using this analogy with the dice in the craps table. For me, it's pretty clear. I like the analogy, but it's trying to understand where you have an edge and follow that. You have to study that though. I mean, with 2 dice, boy, it doesn't take long to study and understand that 7 is going to be most likely number that rolls. Then 6 and then an 8 follow right after that. Okay, well but that's an edge though. If you're gonna roll the dice against the wall with your buddies, you pick these numbers, like it's most likely going to come up. Okay? Now on each roll though, we don't know what it is going to be, and in fact each roll, it could come up, a 2 or a 12 multiple times. Okay, that's the least likely to come up. However, it could come up 100 times in a row. Who knows, right? But that's where you get into the account management, and make sure you're not risking too much, because you will get wiped out. Okay, so play the probabilities. This is exactly what it's all about, and then putting that in your favor. There's another way to do it, Rob, is take your probabilities, like a 2 or a 12. All right, well, how often will that come up out of all the combinations? Now, let's put some risk management around it. Every time you lose, you lose just a little bit, okay, because it's not likely to come up. But when you win, it should take care of all those losers. Okay, so it will come up every now and then. What are the probabilities of it coming up? Okay, so now your risk management and your trade management is adjusted for a low probability setup to unfold. Okay, now we showed the trading journal. Well, we've been showing the trading journal. If you guys aren't using it, you should. It's free within Bookmap. And yeah, you can even see, like yesterday we had a few losses in here. Yeah, this was during the webinar, a couple losses. 24th. And I know we had this one here, and I think this one here. Yeah, a few different losses here on the 24th during the webinar, and then we came back though, end of the webinar here, and had a winner, and then also closed my another NVIDIA here. Took a few trades this morning in the ES, as you guys can see, and then or I'm sorry, that was in the afternoon, and then this morning as well, here the 25th, and then the NVIDIA trades here. Okay, so on the overall though, right, the equity curve continues to the upside, right? That's the goal here, because losses are going to happen, but we want to be able to capture the edge and continue on in that direction. All right, let's see if there's any other questions here. No. Yeah, all right, so let's take a look at our bigger picture approach here. We haven't really done that yet today. And what's going on out there. And hold on a minute, we have our trading journal. Sorry, not our trading journal, I don't have it in here. On a minute. Okay, where did it go? Here we go. Okay, our trading plan here, or daily preparation, right? Very simple, just looking at the bigger picture, fundamentals, economic calendar, geopoliticals first, and how are traders reacting to that in the technicals, the daily candles, maybe the weekly candles, look at previous swings, etc. Okay, look at maybe the point of control or most traded levels, look at VWAP. If you look at that, look at inside outside days, and then we're going to develop our outlook for the day and look for the order flow in Bookmap, and this is where the rubber is going to meet the road. Okay, all right, so let's take a look here, step back, look at the S&P E-mini here on this higher time frame. This is the daily over here on the right. Now look at the daily. Okay, so I mean, this again, like, these are massive moves here. This was a huge day to the upside, breakout. Look at the pullbacks. Now we've had a few down days. That's it though. And look how much it's pulled back here. It's very little. And we're starting to find buyers again. Well, how many buyers? Where are they going to go? Okay, let's look at the hourly here. We've only come up to here so far. We haven't found enough buyers to reach maybe back up to this 33 level or even higher. Okay, maybe 34 here, but back up into these areas up in here. We're talking about 55.50 at that point. And what about the 15-minute chart? Well, you can see a bit of a gap here that's kind of been filled more or less, not technically, but you can see it filled more or less, and it's followed by buyers here. Okay, some pretty strong buying coming in, and then up here, well, some profit taking maybe up at these levels, and now it's kind of struggling to get a little higher. Okay, so we're going to look for now up in these levels. We want to look at the buyers and sellers. We look at the order book. Is there a lot of liquidity in here? A lot of sellers, a lot of supply. How are the buyers relating to that? Or are they on the bid in these areas in here? Okay, and then we're going to find sellers. Are they going to drive it back down to this swing here, 23 to begin with, and then maybe down into previous levels here like 17? Okay, let's take a look. Yeah, I mean, it's really all over the place. I mean, I'm not really seeing much of an edge. Okay, we have some buyers up in here. We have some sellers down in here. All right, we'll look at range-bound strategies then, and our outlook for the day. We'll look at that context of that volume and that liquidity within the price range. Okay, and then we'll go over our trade management, etc. Our criteria. This is just so important. Understanding the criteria in our strategies. One of the things we learned yesterday when that 1, 2, 3 pattern, we didn't have a lot of clarity. We weren't looking for a whole lot of movement, just some small moves, and made a mistake and then learned from it. Well, here it is right in front of us again. On range bound days, look at high liquidity in here and look how it transacts at these low levels, okay, or these higher levels here. It really makes a difference. Okay, so the transactions in here, the retest here, it's finding some sellers, driving it back down into the middle of the range to the other side of the range. Right, so high liquidity on these range bound days can be extremely important. Okay, the transactions into them at extremes. All right, let's go through this liquidity indicator here, outside liquidity, and what it does. So Stephen asked about this. Okay, so there's a few different modes in here. Show the bid and the ask liquidity, and here, put it right in the middle here, because we have the historical here. We have the delta difference here. So now this is outside of what's visible, and that's the way that this works, Stephen. Let's just show the bid and ask liquidity. Okay, so here it is here. Now, this is for the historical book for this viewable range or outside of this viewable range. All right, what's the liquidity like up above? Well, we see it's pretty balanced. There's a little bit more on the bid than the offer, okay, historically. And we can look at the delta though, show the difference between, and then now we're just looking at delta. Okay, so you can see there's nothing up here on the offer, but you see 1.5K orders more skewed on the bid side underneath here, right? And then we can show both the full number here as well as the delta difference. Okay, now that's the same over here in the live market. Okay, current order book, and that's what this is reading here. As you can see, it's to the right of the vertical white line here, which is anything in here is the current order book. All right, so Stephen, does that make sense to you? Yeah, you can limit the numbers here. You can levels be calculated if you want. You can include visible price levels as well. That means what you see in here, and then also include the liquidity on the zero price level, which would mean right in here. Okay. You can give it a half-life weighting on those outside of the here. We'll just do this here, and just look how it really falls off, right? Okay, because what it's measuring now is 10 levels being the most important, and then the next 10 levels will be half as important. So it decimated a lot of that liquidity. We're talking full depth here. 20,000. We're talking full depth. Okay, so now look, if I see how I zoom out like this, and then now look at it here. See how it works, Stephen? Let me know if you have any questions, because now because I zoomed out, it's showing me liquidity outside of this viewable range here. Okay, now if I zoom back in a ton more, see how these numbers go up a little bit, just a little bit. Now if I zoom in, really zoom in here, we should also see it go up. Yeah, 24K. All right. So what this will help you with is giving you kind of a bigger picture overview of the liquidity outside of the current market or visible market here in Bookmap. All right, guys, let's take a look at this here. So now I'm starting to see a bit of a skew here volume-wise on the with the sellers here. However, we are trading into high liquidity here. All right, so it's trading here and here. All right, now we're finding a bit of a skew here also on the offer. This is kind of new. We didn't see that in here. And now we're getting a little bit of a follow through to the downside. Okay, so now let's just take then this is not a trade recommendation nor a trading room in here. Okay, but what we're going to look for is a move back into the range here. Okay, so we're going to take a shot at it here with the idea that we're range bound. We have buyers and sellers in here, and we're just looking for a move back up to, well, maybe here only, this swing here. Okay, due to what we covered earlier, we're looking for this high liquidity in this kind of rangy area here, a break of it, and then a move back into the range here. Okay, now it already traded into this high liquidity here. Okay, so maybe, in fact, we just talked about this, how important it is high liquidity in this environment here. Okay, so the buyers squarely met the sellers here and failed to get up above it. Okay, so that transacted here. Now this is a little different here. So this is kind of a risky endeavor that I'm playing here because look at the structure as well. Buyers failed to get back up to here, right? And we're also seeing high liquidity down here at this level here. Well, that's kind of risky. If we didn't have that here, and in fact we had maybe more liquidity on the bid, then that would be less risky. Now we do have some liquidity here on the bid right here now at 24 3/4. Okay, well that's good. However, it looks like the sellers are going to take them on. Okay, So now we see even a look at that kind of book flip or high liquidity now on the offer again. Okay, so this is like I said, this is the risk, and we kind of knew that going into it a bit, that this is different, and that maybe we should take our profit up here. And that's not much of a profit. It's like 2 or 3 ticks. Okay, so in fact, we're going to exit this now because of this high liquidity on the offer and failing to get through it here. Okay, so in fact, we're kind of looking for the sellers to pick it up again and then maybe move it down to 22.5. All right. Let's see the reaction up here into that 25.5. We get our buyers trading into it. Okay, if not, then I would look for the sell side here. See if we can put it right here. Oh, it just took me. Okay, so here's a bit of selling. Okay, we're in. Now, what we're looking for is a move back down into this liquidity here. Okay, now these are very simple things. We're looking for in this price structure in here. We see that buyers fail to make a higher high. And it was all back and forth in here. And then we started to note, well, the high liquidity is trading in here. Okay, good. Then we're looking to fade the move outside back in. Okay, but now we're looking for a move from the inside back out. Okay, and for sellers to come in and try to explore lower levels here. Let's see if they can pick it up a little bit here. No, we're finding our buyers back again. Interesting. Okay, wasn't anticipating that. Let's see if that fails here, because it did run into high liquidity. It traded in these 2 levels here. Okay, if we get our sellers below this, looks good. Should probably get the move lower. A liquidity on the bid at 24 coming in. Let's see if the sellers take these guys on. Anyway, the reason that reason for trading in this here is to illustrate the understanding of order flow here. Okay, so if we can show this in here. Okay, well then let's take a stab at it, and let's show it. If we drill down into understanding this order flow and this behavior in here, we should see something unfold with a likelihood in our direction. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. It's not to illustrate a setup or anything like that, or like it's not a trade recommendation whatsoever. It is all about testing this and showing it, and then how can we take advantage of that? And that's what we want to show with the trade management in here. So not just the order flow, the trade management, and over the years, We got so many questions about this. Like, gee, that's great. The order flow looks great, but how do you trade it? Okay, well, here we go. Bookmap add background color feature. I'm not sure what you mean, Nick. Over on YouTube. All right. Well, to be honest, it looks like we could be entering our markdown phase here. Let's see the this kind of back and forth in here. We're getting kind of an outcome here, and the outcome is that we're starting to see this kind of roll over into sellers. Now, sellers, we're looking for them to trade back down to lower levels here at 20 or maybe 18 here. Okay. Now we need to see them really pick it up in here. Now the offer looks pretty good. Look at the offer here. So we see that there's quite a bit of liquidity in here. What's my iceberg settings? Sure, we can go to that. Stops and icebergs here. Okay. I have summation. Okay, that's it. On both of them, I've used this for years. Rahesh. Okay, now you can see my axes are not aligned. I like that. Very different than like Scott Pulcini in the way he uses it. I like to see the context of the like cumulative volume delta in here. It's buy minus sell. So these are icebergs here. These are stops here, the red line. But this gives me that kind of insight. All right, so here's a stop run, but what's the context of the icebergs? Stops are being used by or stop loss orders are being used by typically retail traders. Icebergs typically being used by larger players. Okay, because stops, us retail traders, we will look for where we are wrong, we'll take the loss, and then look for another opportunity to get back in. Whereas a larger player, they cannot do that. They need to layer into a position over time. So they'll use hidden orders so it doesn't scare people away from the order book, right? Like a strong offer or something like that. If they see like 1,000, contracts right here at the best, or one tick above the best offer, it'll scare traders away. They'll never get filled. Okay, so let's see if we can get our markdown phase here. We see the sellers coming in. Okay, let's see if we can get our move here and down into 55.20. Anyway, I on a more choppy day like this, I'm looking for a pullback for an entry on something like this. Okay, so it just we're going to get some chop back and forth. I'm not looking for really strong move and a break here and go straight back down. So I'd be looking for maybe a movement back into some of these levels of some resistance here. Okay, now I just put in some simple levels in here, but we're looking at the liquidity in line with some of these levels here. Okay, so yeah, we can see that there's a bit of liquidity in here. It's kind of it's not much though on the offer here, but it's up here really at 24. Okay, so then that would mean that yeah, okay, well, we're looking for maybe entering short up here around 24. Okay, Raj, did I answer your question there? Did you want to look at more on the on chart stops and icebergs? We can. Yeah, sure. Someone else is asking that. DK. No problem. So right here, I usually just take it off so that we have more clarity in the on the heat map here, right? Okay, so here's stops and icebergs on chart. Here's high liquidity in here, right? So and it just traded. We just found some buyers trade into it. Okay, see how much information that gives us? So we were looking for the potential move lower and exploration lower. Now we still might get it, but we found some buyers here. They traded into and through this liquidity almost up to this liquidity here at 24 and a quarter. Okay, so what are we looking for then? Up at this level, we're looking for a stacked book on the bid as well as buyers. And our original thesis in the order flow here is upended now. Okay, or we can look for what we were looking for earlier is if we get sellers down below these buyers in here. Okay, this is support here. Okay, so we're looking for sellers below that area here. We can start with exhaustion up here and also the offer up here. Okay, now we found buyers, right? This was support here. Okay, they traded into that liquidity. Okay, and they're coming back into the range now, right? And we avoided that. All right, there's all sorts of settings in here on stops and icebergs to comprehend. If we look at it very kind of a zoomed in level here, we see the E here. That means an executed order for 25 in total icebergs. This one was fully executed as well for 3. You might see the letter C though, and that stands for canceled. Okay, most of these are just executed here. All right, now why I'm going through this here is we can also open up the icebergs, and you can see I'm looking at all the iceberg transactions. We can aggregate them though, and we can use either a threshold here that we put in, up here, our aggregate threshold, or we can use this automatic mode here, threshold. You can see that it inputs 12 immediately here. Okay, so but that's when, and now it's back to 7 actually. Okay, and I'm not able to change it here, the individual threshold. Right, so if you want to change it, then you can do it manually. You can input it here, whatever it is you want to look at. Now this threshold here, if you do it automatically based off a standard deviation over a certain amount of minutes. Okay, standard deviation here, and then the number of minutes here, right? So it's up to you what you want to put in, and then you have a multiplier in here that will really filter it as well. Okay, so you can see it really bump up here when we go higher with the multiplier. So that's going to filter out a ton of icebergs, right? And only the bigger ones are going to show. So like this one here, huge, right in here. And now this is kind of a tricky one because we can see that there's not any liquidity in here, and these sellers are hitting right into it. So this gave us good insight for the, and you can see the rest of it is canceled. Here's our C. And why does this give us good insight? Because we're in that range-bound environment. We don't know what's really happening in here. And we're seeing high liquidity in here, but we're not seeing it in the book in here, but we're running into it here with icebergs. Okay, so we know that we found some buyers with the iceberg setting. Nick, is it possible to set the icebergs from the London or U.S. session? Yeah, you can. I mean, you would set everything, I believe. You would set your entire chart based off of that. Yeah, there's no time in here in the individual settings, right? But you can reset in here, refresh bookmap, and you can input a date or whatever, a time. All right. You can reset it right now. You can schedule a reset, whatever it is you want. Okay, interesting move. We found our buyers. There's going to be some nice stop runs in here to the upside. Now note where we found our buyers. We were looking right at it here. Our buyers took on these sellers here, traded through it. That is what became support. Okay, this is how the insight that Bookmap can give you here is by understanding true support and resistance in here. So if we look at this here and we take it across, look how we came back down to it here, and look where liquidity is again here on the bid. It started right here. All right, that started that move, and we watched this transaction take place. Most traders would be looking at support down here, maybe at this 55.21 and a half, or a little bit higher here, maybe 22. Now this allows us, because we understand this area here as support, this allows us that insight, looking for pullbacks, maybe buyers to start to come back in. Okay, now look at us find some sellers now here too. So this is the kind of day it is today. It's battling back and forth. All right, well, let's see then. Now, do we find enough buyers back in here? Right, now we can look for another opportunity in here. Okay, and we're looking for trading back down to this support. Okay, it's a back and forth day, but we're looking for trading back down to. Let's see if we get those buyers down here. Okay, so we found some sellers and they're on the bid here, or on the offer here. Now we actually found some buyers here, so we're potentially getting trapped here. Okay, the bid looks pretty strong here, but let's see if we find sellers again. Okay, yeah, see how the bid comes in again here at 24 now. So we're trapped in here, right? But I'm still looking to see if we're going to test it here, and we're going to see if we get more supply here or not. Because now we were looking for our demand down here. Okay, that's where we found it earlier. Right, so that's where we're looking for. We found sellers, pull back, looking for continuation just down to here, and then the trap is set here. Okay, so yeah, we're going to get stopped out on this one, it looks like. Okay, we got a strong bid, and they're pulling up here. Yeah, and we're stopped out. All right, well, we got caught up in this right in here. Engineering liquidity, kind of. I mean, but it's really understanding just the appetite in here, buyers and sellers. So, I mean, we're seeing these shifts and changes in here, pretty dramatic. And then, we got caught up in that. But this looked all good here at this point. And just looking for a retest of the buyers down here, and we couldn't get it. Okay, let's see if we get it again here, though. Right, so now we're finding a bit of supply here on the offer. Okay, and this is where those buyers came in these areas right here. Right, are they going to bid up? No, I think the sellers are probably going to test them. And we just missed it. Yeah, there they go. Okay, and we found our sellers. Okay, now let's see if these sellers are going to test these buyers down here at this level. I bet they will. And we'll see if this is still acting like support down here. It's fascinating to see like how, this is the real support here. And it's backed up by the behavior of the liquidity. All right, let's take a look at our bigger picture. Where are we in context here? Yeah, we're still finding some sellers here on that 15-minute. Boy, really not much of an outlook here on any of these three time frames. If sellers can come in, they should be able to test down to this 21. Then maybe they can get lower here. And we're just about there. Everyone watching, hit the button, please. Yeah, I should have on this one in here. I just want to. I don't want to get in the habit of, looking for better opportunities to hit that button, and then to demonstrate, and instead of kind of just willy-nilly, jumping into some of these things and saying, okay, let's test this, right, and then put an order behind it. But anyway, like just from this though, can you understand that you meant for viewers on YouTube should hit the button? Okay. Oh, hit the like button. No, thank you, DK. Much appreciated. Yeah, please hit that like button. I mean, look, like what we're covering here is, kind of redefining support and resistance based on the behavior of the traders. That might be a bit of a shift for a lot of traders, but we're really starting to understand what moves this market. Now look at this up in here. We're getting this really back and forth day, trading up into this liquidity up in here. But look at now, some of them starting to pull, some of it trading, but the bid underneath here. So we're really seeing kind of a battle between buyers and sellers back and forth in here, trying to push it through these levels, and then they flip. And we got kind of caught up in that little flip in here. We found our sellers, pull back, high liquidity here. Here's our pullback. Here's our entry, looking just for a move back down here. and then they flipped here and we started to find buyers and the bid got strong in here, right? And it took it up to liquidity up in here. So we want to be kind of careful in here. I think we're likely going to see a flip up in here too. Look at this support here at 26. Okay, so let's see. And let's see if we can trade into this 27.5. And then let's see if we get a flip here. So, I mean, bid still holding. Are we still finding buyers? Yeah, all right, so still looking for it going higher here. Okay, high liquidity trades and through. Okay, interesting. Note where we went again down here to test those buyers down here, and then we found them. We found them again, right? So we know this is an important level here, right? And are they still going to be down here if we get retested back down to this 22 3/4, 22.5 area? How's our NVIDIA doing? Let's jump back and take a look. Okay, that pretty nice move up into 24 right now. Yeah, this here is likely what we're going to be talking about during that Axia Futures webinar. Is this stop placement here was below this swing here. Should have looked for it below this swing down here. I just put a break even, as you guys can see, a little bit above break even here on this leg in, and took it there. But you know, you can see like this is the area in here. You can still be a buyer in this whole area in here as well. So therefore your stop should be outside of that area. Okay, now this is in hindsight, but that's really good. That's really helpful. We want to look at hindsight and understand what was our behavior and how can we get better at it. In fact, you can see that you can see my stop was here at that area. I moved it up to just right there, and then I think when the webinar started, I moved it up, right? I think so. Yeah, this is 10 o'clock, 10:10. So I moved it up to there, and then I got hit. Okay, but if I was still in here, this would have, maybe I still would have been in it. It's a little too close, but looks like it. Looks like I would have. Yeah, it's hard to say if I would have been stopped out on that or not. Maybe just to the tick. Okay, here we go. High liquidity up here. Just traded. Let's read our 1, 2, 3 pattern in here. Okay, how much selling was in here on this leg? Okay, we're still finding buyers. Still finding buyers. All right, so now up at this upper edge here, we're looking for some, we found our buyers and they met sellers here and here. Now we're looking for some exhaustion, okay? Lack of, there it is right there. All right, so let's see if we can short that now. Okay, after trading high liquidity, and a couple different areas of trading high liquidity, and then we're looking for exhaustion on the buy side here, and then a move back into the range here. Right, so let's look for now where we're going to place our take profit. Well, look at our profile in here as well, and look at our price structure. So maybe down here at the bottom of this range. Okay, let's see. Still finding buyers now on a retest back up. Okay, still high liquidity up here at 33. See, now what we're looking for up here is, are we going to get acceptance up here? Or are we going to see exploration on that buy side? Or are we going to get our exhaustion? Here's exhaustion again. We should find some sellers in here. They should come in. They are. Now, the range has already been established here. It's a very small range. Okay, we're looking for a bit bigger move here. Right, so this liquidity testing here should probably be our take profit, to be honest, on our at least our first leg. But let's see if we can hold out for a little bit bigger move down into this range here. Okay, where did we find our buyers? Well, we found a bunch in here where it broke out from, right here. Right. Guys, I think I need to get going here. Hold on a minute. Let me double check. Yes. No, I do have a few more minutes. Okay, high liquidity again coming in at a higher level here. Okay, same level as before here. Let's see, do we find our sellers? Do they take them on? There we go. And then they're on the offer again up here. Okay, and they pull now. Okay, and now we're starting to find some buyers. Okay, and the bid's starting to build a little bit, showing some interest. And they're coming in again here at 55.30. Let's see if these guys get out of the way at 30. We don't have much on the offer here helping us. We're just looking at exhaustion. Now, this is a kind of a volume profile thing. See the beautiful tapered edge here? Right, so we're looking for, the last buyer up here. And we're looking for exhaustion. And then, well, price is, likely to slip down after some sort of action like that. This is, like you hear the analogy about cattlemen going to an auction, knowing the last steer that was bought at a certain price, and they've seen it 100 million times or whatever, and then it just price slips down and slips away. Okay, so that was the play in here. Understanding there was a little bit of absorption here actually at this high liquidity. We had high liquidity, we had sellers here, sellers again, exhaustion. Now I got in a little bit early in here, but this is a beauty right up here. Okay, now we're starting to, the auction kind of shifted and changed now. We're starting to fill this area in now, starting to accept at this higher level here. Okay, so we're still looking to see, like, here's some exhaustion again. Okay, then sellers, where are you? You should show up here and you should hit into 30. Okay, same idea. It tested up here. We didn't find buyers. We should find some sellers. Okay, they should be able to trade into this level here. And now we're going to see, we're looking for a bigger move here. We're looking for them to trade into and through, and we're looking to find those sellers. There we go. Now we found them. Okay, and then look at the flip here as well. So this time the flip is working for us, right? We've got we were on the other side of it here, and then they flipped like this. Okay, and there's our move. Okay, and that's what we're looking for. Now I'm real curious here at this level. This is where we found the buyers previously. So I would assume that we will probably find some support here, and we will probably find some buyers come back in. Okay, so what does the book look like? Now, there's not much here right now. Okay, so now we can look at another thing. We can look at exhaustion on the sell side here, and buyers starting to come in here and move it and retest back up to maybe here. Is this making sense? Guys, any questions on this? We're going through a lot of different things, and it's quite simple stuff. But you may have heard about exhaustion, absorption. Now we're going to go. We're going through it in detail here. Any context for the rest of the day, AF? Yeah, sure. Let's take a look at that, and that's maybe a good note to end it on. But let's take the stops and icebergs off here for on chart for the moment. And let's take all of our drawings off here as well. And let's zoom out. You can see we're in a big range, choppy area. Look at your volume profile as well. It's one big single distribution, and you got your tapered edges in here. So this is the value area, and likely your 66% or 68% is between here and here, and then your volume it's quite pretty actually. It's playing out pretty well. 25 would be probably your point of control right here. Right, we can verify that. Put in point of control. There you go. So there's your mean reversion trade. So we look for, now we're finding our sellers here, so we would look for them to trade back down to here. Okay, and we have the offer here. All right, so that's a tradable event, and this is your mean reversion here on a pretty clear day. That's what you're looking for. Now, there was one reason that we or one of the things we were looking for is the buyers that came in here that we found. Okay, will they show up again? And we don't really see much. It was a little back and forth in here. All right, sellers, let's hit that point of control. Actually, I would like to see them trade back down into maybe here or this area here at 22. That's where we found our buyers before, right? So maybe here as well we found a few, and we have high liquidity here at 24. But I'm really curious to see if we can trade back down to this 22.25 ish area. All right. Let's look at our bigger picture here and outlook for the day. Okay, so well, it's pretty range bound. we can just start with the daily. First off, we're inside of all of yesterday's price action. So we're looking for a choppy day. We covered it yesterday. There's no economic data really to speak of. And geopolitical stuff has not been moving the market of recent days or weeks. There's all sorts of things going on, but we haven't seen market movement based off of it. That's what's important, what's affecting it. The nice fade up here on the hourly into these wicks, it's not much of a move, and that's what we were actually looking for. That's what we traded here. And that tapered edge up into these areas in here, and then looking for our sellers. We saw our exhaustion. We saw that high liquidity getting filled. So we're looking for it to trade back into the range. Yeah, now I'm kind of curious to see if we can trade through that 25 area and back down into the bottom of the ranges in here. All right, so I don't have much of an outlook for the day. I just think it's going to be between these areas in here. 31 to 21 is really a 10-point range in here. And now if we do see something like outside of that range in here, if we started to build a lot of volume and buyers in here especially, that means it's accepting out here. And we would look for maybe some chop in here or continuation up into 34, 35 here. Okay, so it's not much of a big outlook for today, but based on the economic calendar and the bigger picture fundamental or technicals here, now we're looking at the order flow in those areas. Guys, Nick, AF, Bronx, DK, if you guys aren't if you like this, I would recommend coming over to the Discord channel and the Bookmap Academy. We have this Bookmap Academy that well, it's a community of coaching and mentoring. Every Thursday we have an academy meeting at the market close so that we can go over content that you create and then open the mic for you so that we can hear what you have to say about your trading, your setups, what you're looking for, and then we can maybe help give some coaching on that and some advice or some mentoring. Right, that's the goal. Now it's also a platform for you guys to get better through your trade journaling and marking up your charts, and then that's when we can give the feedback. But if you do well there, we have this whole process for you to be able to get Bookmap for free, become a coach yourself, etc. So just if you're interested in this, go to bookmap.com, click on the more button here, and then under community, go to the Bookmap Academy. And you can apply here. You will apply for the Bookmap Junior Academy. You'll read through the steps here and you'll see. But if you make it through to the Academy here, and you can make it pretty quickly. Some guys make it very quickly. Others, it takes a while to get really good, have high quality content, and meet the quantitative thresholds as well. If you do, then we'll give you Bookmap for free. Okay. The next step is you can become a coach. You can become a Bookmap streamer. So there's all these. Well, we have 4 steps to the project. All right, guys. Well, thanks everyone for coming. Hit the like button. That would be much appreciated. That's it for us today. We'll connect with you at the next meeting. Will be the Bookmap Academy on Thursday, as well as then Friday. We'll go through our all markets webinar just like this. Thanks for coming, everybody, and we'll see you next time.